topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
It's time for Create Your Life with Jenna Edwards.
We're having a conversation. I do want to know. Can you give my guests some tips? It's all good. Good times. Hello, and welcome to Create Your Life with Jenna Edwards. I'm your host, Jenna Edwards, a.k.a. Mrs. Craig Polding. That's hilarious. So we are broadcasting to you live for the first time in 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
From Sunset Gower Studios here in Hollywood, California. It feels oddly familiar to be back. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for continuing to tune in while I was gone, getting married, getting hitched, doing some crafting. Hopefully you were able to follow along on Pinterest. I was trying to blog and post and stuff like that, but it was a blast. I am officially married.
Yes.
It's very exciting. It's so much fun. It's so funny that you did the Alleluia sound effect because at the wedding, of course I'm going to talk about the wedding, you guys, because I know you've been waiting with bated breath. It was perfect. Perfect.
Perfect planning, perfect wedding.
It was, not to say there weren't some snafus, but all I wanted was a giant party and mission accomplished. It was 3 days of just crazy fun. And I will say this, if I was to give one piece of advice to any bride out there or any couple getting married, it is do it more than one day. Because I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I had the whole weekend to hang out with my friends and to really enjoy the moment and stuff, because there were certain people that came the day of the wedding and I don't even remember talking to them because you're like so overwhelmed and there's so much going on. But all the people that were there on Thursday and Friday, I got to hang out with and see, and we had a really crazy good time. It was really fun. But back to you playing the Alleluia. My friend Jeremy is the one that married us, and he was magical. And he kept joking that he was gonna, say completely inappropriate. I have to cough. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. My system completely crashed after the wedding, which is, normal.
At least it held in there until after.
It did. I was in perfect health, which was shocking, and my back didn't go out, which was fantastic.
That's great.
But Jeremy, during the ceremony, how the officiant says some things about the couple, blah, blah, blah. His was things that took less time to get completed. Things that took less time than Craig and I getting married, because we got married on our 15-year anniversary, for those of you who haven't been paying attention, if you will. And it was so funny. I mean, I can't wait to see the pictures, because I am sure it's just me cracking up the entire time with my big old mouth open. He's like, the Taj Mahal took less time. He's like, Buckingham Palace. All 7 wonders of the world. Everything took less time than the 15 years it took Craig and I to get married. I don't know what's happening with my voice right now, but I need to take a drink of water and cough really bad. So maybe we should play something.
Okay, sure. You got it.
In the future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
Okay, thank you for that.
Sure.
Tune into UBN Radio and not Jenna hacking up along. Oh my goodness. So anyway, the wedding was fantastic. I have zero complaints. Everything was just so much fun. On Thursday, my maid of honor, Amy Arter, shout out, she's amazing. She put together this super fun day of all this fun stuff for my friends who came in from out of town, and then the wedding party mostly. And we went to the beach, and we did a scavenger hunt type of thing, and we did wine tasting, which I loved. And they had a crafting wine. It was I wish I would have remembered the name of it, but I'm reading it and it's red wine and it has crafting in the title. I was like, I need a bottle. So I have a bottle at home. It was really, really fun. And then Friday, when most people got in at 2:00, we had a scavenger hunt around the area, and I broke everybody up into teams. So they weren't with anybody that they knew. Oh my God, chaos ensued. It was hysterical to watch these grown ass people run around and try and get pictures and get back in time. And they had to name their teams. And one of them had my grandma. And so the name of the team was Granny Six Pack Plus One. They got bonus points for that name because it was hysterical. And my grandma, if this is the same grandma who I went on a road trip with last year, and she wore me out. I'm not lying to you guys. I had to sleep for 3 days after she left. We drove so much, and she was like, ooh, let's take a picture. And so we would literally pull over on the side of the road, take a picture, and get back in the car. And that was what the scavenger hunt was like with her, apparently. She's in her wheelchair, right? My aunt's pushing her around. And then she's like, go, go, go. And then she would get out of the wheelchair to take a picture and then sit back down and then keep going. I was just like, she's so awesome. So it was just really cool. And then everybody got to know each other and their quirky little kinks in their personalities and have fun. And then we did the rehearsal and the rehearsal dinner. And then we had a pajama contest / game night at the hotel. Oh, another thing I would totally recommend doing is finding someplace that you can rent the whole thing out, because that's what we did. There was 36 rooms at the inn, and we had enough people to fill the entire place, so it was ours for the whole weekend. It was so much fun. The Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, I cannot recommend it enough. Such a blast. Dustin's the guy that works there, brought out the speaker with the microphone. Now, you can't give me a speaker with a microphone. Like, that's just dangerous. And so I was doing the whole, model on the catwalk talk, if you will, and describing everybody's pajamas, some of which were quite funny. And then there was a 3-way tie. How do you break a 3-way tie, you ask? You twist her for it. So we had to twist off. And, oh, shoot, now I can't even remember who won. But they had to pick a representative from their team because it was extra points if you coordinated pajamas. I love pajamas. So anyway, it was an epic twist off, and I laughed my butt off the entire night. And then Saturday was the wedding, and it was so much fun. And our DJ, I have to do a shout out to our DJ Donnie, DonTheEntertainer.com. He is freaking phenomenal and helped us every step of the way in the planning and the execution. And he's been a guest on the show before. You should seriously, if you're getting married, check him out. He loves to travel, and he'll come and do your wedding, and it'll be the most fun you'll ever have in your whole life. So he doesn't like the clinking of the glasses so that the bride and groom will kiss, which I don't either. So you have to do something. So ours was quoting our favorite movies. And we gave them a list beforehand on our website of what the movies were going to be.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, obviously. I mean, come on. And my favorite quote from Wayne's World was, Garth, marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some countries. Good job, Bill. Way to say that one. Anyway, my favorite quote of the entire thing, other than the epically on-spot Napoleon Dynamite impersonation by Carter, was my friends Laura and Kurt. They're a little obsessed when you give them a challenge, and I love them for it. One of the movies that they could quote was Bridesmaids. And so Laura or Kurt drew, do you remember in Bridesmaids where, God, what's her name? The Australian actress.
Oh, yeah, Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Wilson,
yeah.
And she gets that tattoo in the back of the van.
Yeah.
And it's a Mexican worm, right? Which is what is symbol of drunk or something. Anyway, it's the quote isn't what I'm talking about. Kurt drew the tattoo on Laura. So she goes up there and she pulls up her shirt and she has this giant marker tattoo on her back of it was insane, and they won hands down. Best quote ever, mostly because it took epic amounts of planning to get one quote in. I mean, that's my friends are amazing. Craig and I were so surrounded in love. It was just the most fun I could ever have. And then we got back from our honeymoon, which was equally as fun, and I crashed. I was in such a depression last week. I was like, oh my God, I have no vision. I have nothing to do, right? Which I hear is very normal. It's very normal in film. And so I was laughing at myself the whole time because I would recognize oh, wow, you're in post-production crash mode. Like if you ever talk to a filmmaker, because you're constantly going, and you're doing this thing and it's so exciting and you're really passionate about it, and then you have nothing. You're like, oh, sad face. So I'm out of it now. I'm back at work. It's all good. But, I like to say that because I feel like people maybe would get down on themselves for feeling sad. If you're doing something that's so important to you and then you're done doing that thing, you're going to feel sad. Just go with it. You can visit Sad Town. You just can't live there. That's what I like to say. But yeah, I definitely crashed last week and I was like, I don't even care anymore. Wow. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I tend to be emotional. It's what makes me me. Let's see. Oh, one thing I will say too that I'm so glad I did was take time off to really focus on the wedding. So if you guys are planning something like this and getting married, like if you can take the time to just really enjoy every single moment, please do it, because it's the best. It's so much fun and I'll never forget, most of it. I'm telling you, the people I saw on Saturday, I don't remember. Not that I don't remember them, obviously they're my friends, but I don't remember seeing them. There were times I was like, oh my God, did I even talk to that person? Like you're looking at a picture and you're like, oh no. So do multiple days if you can. And then, I wanted to say thank you to all the listeners who sent me private messages, because there were some people, so sweet, like, oh, congratulations, or, and advice. And one of the biggest, best pieces of advice, and it helped on the day of, was from Damona, our very own dear Mrs. D here at the station, was on the show. And she was like, and you hear it all the time, like, don't sweat the small stuff. But she said it, and then she gave an example of she burned her dress when she was ironing it before the ceremony. And I thought, okay, well, that's not necessarily a small stuff. So for her to give that example really brought into perspective for me. And there were a couple of things that normally I would have went off, and I remembered her saying, I burned my dress, and I didn't even freak out. And so I actually had 2 freak out moments, and they lasted less than 30 seconds each. And I was so proud of myself. Yeah. And I wasn't stressed, and I just had a total blast, and I wasn't intoxicated when I was having this non-stressful moment. You would think oh, that type A personality, that's me, in case you didn't know, needs alcohol to be calm. No, I just had a blast. So thank you for the advice, Damona. I appreciate that. And a special thank you to Linda, my producer. She made the reception area look so pretty. She did these really beautiful paper flowers, and poor thing, while I was getting ready up in my room, I could see her fighting with them because it was so windy, and the wind died down. But when she was setting up, oh my gosh, and she's this little person, so I was like, it's like a kite. She's gonna end up in the air, and the only thing holding her down is the paper flowers. And it just looked amazing, and I'm just so grateful to her and Jeanette for helping, and Bill for helping. And again, to you, those of you who listen to the show and send me messages, that was really so sweet and touching. And anyway, that's my update on the wedding. It was fantastic. It really, really was. And I'm just eternally grateful that I had the opportunity to do it the way I wanted to. When Craig and I first got together, in Minnesota, if you're dating more than 6 months, everybody's asking you when you're getting married. 6 months, people. And so I'm like, calm down, And I told him, I'm like, I don't want to do it unless we can have a big giant party and make a real go of it and make it really special. And that's exactly what we did. And it was so amazing, and it was exactly what I wanted. So thank you to everybody who helped make it that way. Now we're going to move on to business. Okay. Because our guest on the show today is epically inspiring, and I'm so excited to talk to her. Danielle Hostin is our guest today on the show. She's been on Anita's show, which airs after mine, and with The Rich Life with Anita Rich. And her story is just really, really inspiring. And she's engaged, so of course we're going to talk about wedding stuff. I apologize in advance if it's getting old, but tune in, because she's also the host of a new show on the OWN network at Oprah.com. So really, really exciting. We're going to take a break now and bring her in. You're listening to Create Your Life with Jenna Edwards. I'm Jenna Edwards, and we'll talk to you after the break.
Sounds good.
tangled trees, two-tone eucalyptus leaves, blindly sliding down the trail to Cobalt Creek, floating side by side, toes up to the sky, clothes all in a pile. The night that I found you. Under tall reeds, your voice speaks to me. I hear but cannot see. The night that I found you, floating side by side, toes up to the sky, clothes all in a pile. The night that I found you. The night that I found you. The night that I found you.
Need a website, a mobile app, or to update your site? TOD, Twining Original Design, a professional web design company that has your solutions. Any tips, Todd?
First impressions are visual. Ever see a pink house and wonder what were they thinking? Check your competitors and see how your website compares. Is your website one of the pink houses?
Todd is Twining Original Design. Get the straight talk. Go to TODCAN.com. ToddCan.com.
This is Anita Rich. I want to share my insights and my no-nonsense approach to success. I want to empower and inspire you to live a rich life as I host the Rich Life Radio Show live at UBN Radio every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Enjoy a life rich with results. Love you.
Hello, and welcome back to Create Your Life with Jenna Edwards. I'm your host, Jenna Edwards, and that was a promo for the lovely Anita Rich. Her show is After Mine, so stay tuned for that. She is inspiring as all get out and hilarious. So that's my mandate for you. Stay tuned. And before I bring on the lovely Danisha, I am going to talk about Gwynnie Bee because I forgot. John, you're like obsessed with that. It's so funny. So Gwynnie Bee is my clothing sponsor, and I forgot to mention them at the top of the show, but I love this blue dress. I actually wore it on my Day of Fun Thursday because it's bridal blue. You know what I'm saying? I'm a total dork bride. It took me a long time to get there, but anyway. So check out Gwynnie Bee. They're at the website, createwithjenna.com. Click on the banner ad and get a free 30-day trial. It's awesome, and I can't say enough good things about them. Okay. We are going to talk with Danisha. Hi, Danisha. Danisha is so inspiring, and I don't want to take too much time to introducing you because I want to get into it. But you have quite a story of overcoming, and you have created your life, and you're like the embodiment of what the show is all about. So welcome. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Are you kidding?
Congrats on your wedding.
Thank you. Congrats on your engagement. Danisha's engaged.
I am engaged and completely overwhelmed by wedding planning. So I see how it took 15 years.
Yeah.
totally see that.
It's so funny because I used to produce film. That was my previous job, if you will. And so I just produced my wedding. When I
would produce mine, please?
I totally will.
Like a film, like Titanic or something like
exactly.
that.
Well, the thing is that, I really came to conclude that it's important to make the wedding your own. Mm-hmm. Like there's all these things that you can do within wedding planning that people just do. Like, why is there a cake? Well, who knows? Because you're supposed to have a cake, you know? And instead of looking at it that way, look at it more like, well, how can we make that cake something people are going to say, oh, that's totally you guys. Aww. So once you start doing that, that's when it gets fun. Otherwise, it's just a task.
That is fun. And maybe I am looking at it as a task, one on my to-do list.
Exactly. We'll chat.
Jenna is already creating my life.
Woohoo! Well, you do a fantastic job of that on your own.
Well, thank you.
I believe for sure. And you were on Anita's show, and that's how you became friends of this show.
Well, actually, Anita was my friend. We actually worked together, and so she's known me for a while.
Anita's amazing.
Anita is truly amazing.
Yeah,
that woman is a dynamo. She is within.
That's true.
Within 100 yards, you feel her. Her energy.
That's a
just
great way
through.
to describe her. It's true.
Yes.
She was at the wedding.
And I bet you she was
hysterical.
Second in line behind the bride in terms of the energy that she was bringing. That's awesome.
Totally. There's a picture, you guys, if you haven't gone to the Create with Jenna Facebook page, her and Linda, my producer, took pictures at our photo booth. It is hysterical.
Oh,
so
gosh.
you definitely have to check that out. Facebook.com/Create with Jenna. But so you've known Anita for a long time because you're in real estate.
Correct. I sell commercial real estate, and Anita actually does both commercial and residential. We both have teams. We both have real estate teams.
We're
both
you look
moms.
way too young to have a team.
Oh, God. Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you. Must be great lighting in here. But no, I'm definitely old enough to have a team. I also have a 14-year-old daughter. So we have
Holy
bonded over.
shnikes.
Yes, I was 8. No,
I know. I was like, were you in the womb yourself? Like
no, I was not. But we have bonded in addition to real estate about our children.
That's cool.
And my daughter, who's not, I would say she's a little bit of a diva. A little bit. She's not like the warmest child. Called Anita Auntie Anita.
Aww.
Probably within 2 times of meeting her. So
that is cool.
that's how we bonded.
That is very cool. And so you do real estate in LA.
Correct.
Was that something that you wanted to do?
I would say that I had always had an interest in real estate. I never knew that people actually owned apartment buildings, retail centers, office buildings, like actual people, like Jenna owns buildings. I never knew that.
It's like
growing
this
up.
like fantasy conglomerate in the sky that
right.
owns everything.
I thought companies and management, that's who you were writing rent checks to. So I
that's so
never
interesting.
even knew that was an avenue for me. But I started as a corporate accountant, and then I saw the checks going to those commercial real estate brokers, and I thought, God, those guys are idiots. So if they're idiots and I am
not an idiot
all the time, then maybe I can make some of those checks too.
That's really cool. So you didn't really know anything, obviously didn't know anything about it because you thought that some conglomerate owned it. What was your process? Because I feel like on the show I like to dispel the myths of how people do things because it's so important to know that everybody just kind of takes one step and then another step and then another step, and nobody knows what they're doing at first.
No,
Frankly,
still don't.
I don't know what I'm doing. And I've been doing this for a long time. So
right. I mean, there was probably a time when you were like, I don't know radio.
Oh, yeah.
And then now look at you, so it's just one thing. And that's one thing I'm really, really passionate about is, do you believe that you can do it? Do you believe that you really want to do it, that you would enjoy doing it? And then being bold enough to be uncomfortable and take a risk, because without risk, there's no reward. So
true.
That was kind of, I guess, how it started,
Okay.
and I did not think I was necessarily going to be successful. I really didn't.
You know what? It's interesting because you said, do you believe you can do it? I almost never do. I don't think about it because if I think about it, I get really scared.
Well, scared is good.
Well, I don't know.
Sometimes people think that, you're never supposed to be scared. No, you should
I'm
be
pretty
scared.
much terrified every day.
Because it'll make you be, well, it depends on your personality.
Right.
Some people can step up to that. Some people cower behind it. So I think given your story and just sitting across from you, I can tell that even if you're scared and a little insecure, you're still going to go out there and...
Right. But it's true, though, if I know too much about it. Like, it's funny because my first film that I made, I knew nothing. Literally, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I just kept doing it. And then my second film, I knew too much. So it almost was harder because I was like, well, this happened the last time I tried that, But then my third film, I'm like, oh, screw it. Let's just go back to the mentality of we don't know and we're just going to ask and we're going to try new things.
Right. And mistakes happen. You learn from mistakes. And I don't believe like necessarily in mistakes. I just believe that's a lesson.
Absolutely.
I just needed to learn that. So
absolutely.
In that case, I'm not that scared, but that doesn't mean I'm not like insecure almost every day at some point during the day. Everybody is. I think it's part of having estrogen in your body too, to have
I think it's testosterone
moments.
Too. I think just being human is being insecure for the most part. If you're trying something new, if you're trying to grow, I mean, that's the unknown, right? So if you don't try to grow, then you're just frankly boring. I'm sorry.
Well, you're boring and you're not going to achieve anything. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to have that sense of victory and triumph. So
totally. So what was the first step for you in commercial real estate?
It was kind of a joke because I registered to get my real estate license just because I kind of was used to going to school. It was my first after college. It was my first job as an accountant. So the company that I worked for was a commercial real estate company.
As an accountant.
Oh, and they said, anybody who works for the company can get their real estate license for free. So I said, ooh, free.
Right? You're like,
cool.
I get to go to school for free? Yes.
Right. I never thought, oh, yes, and then one day I'm going to sell tons and tons of units and own them myself. I never really even saw that at that time because it wasn't even part of my vision. I couldn't even see that far.
Wow.
So I just did that. And then I kind of was interested. And then I went on a fly fishing trip with those idiot brokers who are very nice. I hope they never see that. But they were very nice. I just thought, well, hey, I can do what you do. And then I started thinking, okay, can I do this? Can I do this? And then I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
And that will kind of derail you for a little bit because you'll think, okay, can I do it now? Because I can't do a commission-based business. I can't not have benefits. I can't do, and then there's all these can'ts and these fears. And that's where I started doubting myself. And then on top of that, my daughter's dad was diagnosed with cancer and he passed away when she was 10 weeks old. Oh my gosh. So then I'm
so sorry.
Oh, thank you. He's the most fantastic person on the planet at that time. But it really strengthened me.
Yeah. I understand.
It was okay. I mean, it will never be okay, but it will be okay.
Right. I totally understand what you're saying. I really do. And it's, but that's what I think makes you so inspiring because all of that stuff was happening to you. I mean, I can't imagine having a 10-week-old and then losing a partner and then still being not secure in your job, really.
Oh, no, I was laid off after I came back from maternity leave. I mean, it was probably the worst series of events in my life. And I don't get me wrong, I know people have way worse series of events. His series of events was worse than mine.
Well, I don't like to compare.
But I'm just saying
people come up to me and compare their stuff to my stuff all the time. And it's like, if it affected you, it was the worst for you.
Right.
And it's, I tend to stop people when they compare because I try not to. Do you know what I mean?
Right. But I still also can connect with people's situations. And sometimes people say to me, and I'm sure they say to you, I could have never gotten through that. Yeah, of course you could.
Right. That's
you would have had to.
It's human nature. Exactly. Like you don't have a choice at that point. So what advice would you give someone who's going through the worst time of their life and wanting to better themselves?
The number one thing, because it's easy to kind of get caught up in the can'ts and the fears and all of that, is to focus on the coulds and the hopes. And, today, as bad as things were, I was like, hey, I'm waking up this morning. I'm walking. My daughter's healthy. You know, I have a job, or I have a real estate license. Like, there were things that
like, I don't have a job, but I have a license. Woo!
but I have a license that makes no money, you know, but it was still like, I really didn't even know it at the time what I was doing, but I did start focusing on things that were going my way. So that's
awesome.
The first thing that I would say.
And do you have any tips or tricks on how to do that? How do you make yourself focus? Because I know when I get kind of down and caught in certain things, I have to really push myself to focus on positive stuff.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
And kind of being aware that you're saying these things to yourself,
I
and
know.
not
Awareness is
coming
key,
down on
right?
yourself for being negative. You know, because sometimes you're negative and you're like, oh, and then I'm negative. I'm not supposed to be negative. I'm Create with Jenna. You know?
Thank you. Exactly. That was me last week. I don't know if you heard in the intro, but I was like, and the wedding's over and I'm so depressed. And I have I literally was like talking to Craig. I am such a drama queen. I was like, I have no purpose in my life.
Because my wedding's over. I was like,
really?
In Guyland, like, I don't understand.
I know, exactly. Like, okay, babe. You need to snap out of it. But you also need to go through that stuff. You know, I feel like for me, when I was going through all the stuff that I went through, it was more detrimental that I was beating myself up for having those emotions than just going through those emotions.
And observing it. And just saying, you know what? Right now I'm feeling a little sad. I'm a little down on myself.
Right, right now I'm being a drama queen.
Right.
And that's
or,
okay.
I mean, even that can be like, you're still coming down on yourself. And so sometimes I'm like, well, it's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
But then what can I be happy for? So then that's what I mean about baby steps, is where you start thinking, okay, first things first, what do I have going for me right now? I have a fantastic daughter. Oh my gosh. And she gets better every day. Aww. So then I start, okay, then I'm healthy. You know, because healthy, as you know, when you're not feeling healthy, then it really feels like nothing's going on, you know? And even so, then from there, X, Y, Z. And then now I've got a great fiance, and he's always good. Even when he's on my nerves, he's still great, you know? Like, so.
That's amazing.
So that's where you, that's how I start. And that's what I would really, really recommend.
That's very cool. So, obviously, at this stage in your life, when you're, you know, first starting out with your license and no job, I think the one thing I would ask is, how did you buy your first property? I bet you get that question all the time, because people think, oh, you have to have millions of dollars to buy a commercial real estate building.
No.
Right?
No. And I actually bought my home and my first property in the same month.
What?
Yes. And everybody did exactly that. And they said, oh my God, you're
I'll
crazy.
plan your wedding if you help me buy my house.
Hello.
Done.
It's
Done.
what I do anyway.
Look at what we're doing, creating our lives.
It's not.
Anita
it's
might be
really
upset,
not.
but
oh, you know what? I would honestly say Anita, because when you're ready to buy your first building, I could definitely help you with that. I can do houses too, but Anita is the specialist.
She's so good.
She's
so good.
so good, and I would never take business away from that one.
Yes.
It'd be hard for me to do that. But I would say that, you know, that was the same thing. It was, again, an uncomfortable realm. But I thought, if I sell people buildings and I don't buy them, what am I doing?
Kind of a hypocrite. Was
correct.
that what you were feeling?
Yeah,
I
then
feel
it's
like
really about the
sometimes.
commercial. I mean, it's about the commissions. It's just about the commissions then, if I'm just sitting here taking commissions and not buying what I sell. And then I thought, okay, let me try to do this. And I really fell in love with a building, which you're not supposed to do. But I did, and I thought, oh, I have to have this.
I'm totally
even
in love
though
with
I
the
was
building in Burbank. It's bad.
put that sucker on your vision board.
Oh,
I'm
it is.
telling
Oh,
you.
trust me.
And it happens, you know, and then it actually ended up being even better than I ever envisioned in
that's
terms of,
awesome.
and then it made me a better broker, because then I know what my clients are going through.
Right. Now you can relate. Oh, I love you.
Thank you. I love you back.
This show, by the way, is going insanely fast. I think the clock on the wall is wrong, though, Linda. Can you tell me?
Okay, good.
Like, because what? Thank you. I'm like, what's happening? I know, but I just want to know when I need to segue into what's happening at OWN.
Yeah.
My friend, this is amazing. Because when you were a guest on Anita's show, this wasn't happening, right? Because Linda's like, wait a minute, what? When she
It was
emailed
happening.
Me. Okay,
It
tell
was
me about
happening.
this. Tell the audience about this, because this is really, really cool. You are the host of your own own digital network show.
Yes.
Amazing.
Beyond amazing.
Right? How did that happen? Tell me the story.
Well, I think it started with me being obsessed with all things Oprah.
Yes.
Right there, girl.
That's right.
Right there. So being obsessed with all things Oprah and talking about it all the time. So on social media, I talk about her shows. I talk about her principles. I talk about my aha moments. So I'm doing all of this stuff, and I had actually was sent an email saying, "Hey, we're starting this new daily digital series. We're looking for some hosts.
Oh, how cool.
Would you be interested?" I didn't get that email. Correct.
Oh, can you imagine not getting that email? I would have died.
A month later, by the grace of God, I got another email that forwarded that previous email and said, "Hey, we're doing another round." Turns out they had looked at over 1,200 people.
Wow.
They were still kind of having open, casting. And they said, "Would you be interested in this?" And I thought, this, again, is something that was beyond my scope. But I'll be honest with you, I did have on my vision board this Danisha Danielle show TV thing.
Oh, my God. I love it.
With an OWN network logo.
Yeah, you did.
And it was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of it.
See, vision boards work, people. I cannot say it enough. And people get caught up in how do you make a vision board. You don't get caught up in how you just do it.
You just start sticking stuff on there.
Yep.
And every time you think of something you want, you say, oh, I'm going to put that on my vision board.
Exactly. I have a huge empty frame on my wall in the bedroom. I mean, huge.
Good for you.
And just sticking stuff up there now. Craig's like, babe.
Oh, until that stuff starts coming true.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have actually 3 vision boards that I made in the past that I had to roll up because everything happened. Mm-hmm. I'm a junkie.
Well, then you understand. You definitely understand.
I love that you had that on your vision board.
I did, and I thought it was kind of like, I'll put this on my vision board, and
right?
We'll see how that goes. But then I got this call, and then even still, you're auditioning, and then we get past the audition, and you're testing, and then you go in there, and there's, amazing people. Amazing. Everybody has amazing stories and tons of experience, and I'm the real estate girl. Kind of, trying hosting. And I've done some media stuff, but definitely not like an established host. And so then when I was chosen, it was unbelievable. One of 3 amazing hosts, Karamo Brown and Ami Desai, who are absolutely fantastic people.
Wow.
Fantastic people, amazing stories.
So what's the show about?
It's a daily digital series based on all things Oprah. Little snackable moments, and it's just 3 to 5 minute videos. We interview experts from O Magazine.
Oh, cool.
Own personalities, and we go through just anything like mistakes women make when they're drinking or when they're dieting.
That's great.
Or we have roundtables, and
cool.
it's really, really, really cool. And it's been well received so far, and it just launched last Wednesday.
Wow, not even a week old.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So awesome. That's so awesome. So do you go in every day then to do this, or is it like
No, we film every week.
Okay.
But we also have, extended filming periods, and so it's a lot of filming because it's a daily show, and there's 2 to 3 shows a day.
So you're hosting one show a day. Like it's not you host and then the other 2 hosts.
It's different. I would
mix it up.
Yeah, it's totally mixed up. Some
That's
days
great.
you could get 3 from me. Some days you may not get any, and it'll be from Ami or Karamo or
cool.
Lisa Ling or it's anybody on there.
By the way, I love Lisa Ling, and I used to watch her on Channel 1. Did you have Channel 1?
I don't think I had.
Okay,
Channel
in
1.
school. This is how old I am, people. I'm just saying.
Channel 1?
Yes, in school they implemented this like school channel across the nation, and Lisa Ling was the host of Channel 1 News. And it was like every morning we would sit in homeroom and they would broadcast Lisa Ling into these TV monitors from, must have been LA or something, or Chicago. And she would give the news, and it was all teenage based. It was really cool. Yeah, so she's been like in my realm since I was 13. I want to say.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she's amazing. So Lisa, if you're listening, I'm just
You're in the area.
It's fine. You can just come on the show. We'll talk about Channel 1. It'll be awesome. Okay, so the burning question I know everyone who's listening is wanting to know, have you met Oprah? Let's just throw it out there, people.
What is crazy? That's actually another crazy story. I did meet her in Chicago on the show, and it was my friend's 30th birthday, and we had totally lucked up on tickets. We all
so this was before,
Chicago.
way before the digital network thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're old friends with Oprah.
Well, I wouldn't say that. In my mind, yes.
I would say that.
In my mind, we're related, and we totally understand each other. And when I'm having a moment,
We're besties.
I consult with her, but that's all in my mind.
Okay, so tell the story. So you're in Chicago. You got tickets. Did you win a car?
Robert Downey Jr. show.
Wow.
And then at the end of the show, she took questions from the audience, and then she just came down and she walked right up to me and shook my hand and said, "Did you enjoy the show?" And I was like, "Ooh!"
You're like, I'm going to die now.
Yes,
Done.
I enjoy every single show you ever do. And it's like that's really
that's so
that moment.
awesome.
That was a moment.
That's
right there.
amazing. So then the next
Now I'm
burning
here.
question is, did you get a car?
I did not.
Oh,
Not yet. I'm gonna put that on my vision board.
and you get a car, and you get a car, you're the only one in the room.
Right. that would be okay.
I had a friend who was on the Steve Harvey show, and she bought her very first brand new car from it, and she called it the car that Steve Harvey built. So you can buy a car from Oprah and call it the car that Oprah built.
Hey, I will take that too.
That's right.
She's given actually so many gifts, and I'm not just saying that.
I know.
She's given so many gifts to my life that the car would be the minimum. You know,
I
seriously.
love that. That's amazing. Yeah, you know what? I it's funny because I remember when she started doing more philanthropy, and people it went both ways, right? There were people that were like, "Oh my God, she's amazing," and there were people like, "Who does she think she is?" or whatever. And I'm obviously on the amazing side of it. That woman has taken what she's built and just poured it out into the world. You know, there's so many people who build stuff like that and they hoard it.
Right.
You know, and she's such a sharer, and I love that about her.
And it's probably, I mean, in my little small world, I have become passionate about sharing, and it's probably inspired by Oprah in ways and parts of that. But just when you've been shared with, and when you've been given gifts, it is such a waste to hold on to those gifts.
I know. It's
know?
so funny you say that because I'm going to be starting a new project here soon. I will announce on the show when I'm ready.
Ooh, good.
Stay tuned. I know Linda doesn't even know about it because we had too much to catch up on this morning. But I was talking with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about I love peeling back the curtain. I really want to get people on the show who are willing to talk about just the down and dirty details of how you do something. I've been watching the DIY Network a lot lately. I'm obsessed with it. I don't know if you have it, but it's obsessive. Oh, that's how you do this. And I get so many people who say, well, how do you? Like I said, how do you buy a commercial real estate building?
Right.
You know, and my friend and I were having this conversation, and there's so many people, especially in LA, that in the creative field, well, I don't want someone to steal my idea. Well,
Trademark it. It's on right now.
not only trademark it, but no one is going to tell the story the same way that you will.
Right.
No one is going to do whatever this thing you are afraid they're going to steal from you
Correct.
is going to do it the same way. So just share. And I think that's why I love Oprah, because she shares. She's not hiding or keeping all of this amazing information to herself. She's spreading it out into the world. And I love people like that. And you're a people like that. And I really appreciate it. And the show has gone way too fast. Is there any, you're going to have to come back on. Is there any, if you could give one epic piece of advice to our listeners, or one process that you knew from start to finish before, if you could, does that, I don't even know if I'm making any sense.
What do you mean?
Let's take commercial real estate, for example. How exactly did you get that first investment? How did you do it?
I decided to do it.
Nice.
That's kind of the first thing.
Okay.
Not thought about it. Not
I'm
one
going
day I
to.
will. Yeah. I decided I'm going to do this. So that was the first thing. And anytime I've bought, and now I've bought and sold tons of properties. Every time I've decided on doing that, I do it. Okay. I'm in escrow now to buy a property. And it was literally a month ago I said, hey, I told myself I was going to buy this many units a year, and it's already March. So then I made a decision to do it, and then a week later I was in escrow. And so then you just get somebody who's an expert.
Okay.
Because you don't know what you don't know.
And this is what I was trying to get at. My big piece of advice to people is ask. Just ask. If you don't know, ask someone who does. So you're saying basically the same thing. I don't know how to buy commercial real estate, so I'm going to ask somebody who does.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I have to be committed to doing that before I do the ask, because I get a lot of people who ask me who aren't all the way committed. But if you are committed and then you ask, then your actions will fall in line with that, and it's going to happen.
That's amazing. And have you noticed that people who know more than you or are more experienced than you have been willing to help or not willing to help?
Absolutely. I had the most amazing mentor in the world. His name was Jonathan Weiss. He revolutionized my life. I mean, he mentored me in my career, but he also mentored me as a parent. He made me a better woman. I mean, he's a man, but he made me a better woman, a better mother, a better broker, a better investor. And so now I'm consulting with him about, okay, so how do I do this wife thing? Because it's like another thing all in itself. And so it's always that. It's always that. And growing and having somebody who, without even saying, hey, I'm going to mentor your whole life. He just decided one day, he saw me trying.
Right. I was going to say he saw you trying and you asked.
And asking.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, and I've found myself in the past caught up in, like, you get a little bit of an ego trip when you first become successful. Like, you asked and you asked and you asked, and then you did it, and you're like, woo, I'm awesome. And then you don't ask anymore. Like, I've caught myself in that moment. And so I think asking requires humility, which is something I really, really love. And I'm saying this more for myself right now.
Well, also,
because I'm going to start a new process that I don't know anything about. So I'm going to have to ask a lot of questions.
Well, that's what I was just going to say, is because it sounds to me like you had kind of gotten to your vision and then you didn't have the next step.
Right. Well,
because if you had, like, where you wanted to go, this new project or you know what, I think Oprah said something like she had a vision for her own network in 91.
Yeah, I bet.
And so then she had this vision, and then she probably, I would imagine it takes a whole lot of work to do your own network, but it probably took some process and then just time invested and being committed to doing that.
Right.
And so then there's all of that. So it was kind of exactly what you were saying. So then now you have this project, and now you have a reason to ask.
I know. It's kind of exciting. It's like back to training wheels almost.
Good.
It's really going to be, you guys just have to stay tuned to find out what my project's going to be.
That's probably a good thing. Like, if you don't have on training wheels, then you're stagnant.
Yeah.
You have to have training wheels on in something.
Exactly. It's true. Oh, good point. Good point. So, let's promote your show first of all. So Oprah.com, and what's the name of the show?
It's called Own Show.
Own Show.
So it's on all social media.
Very clever.
# Own Show. And you can look up all of the videos and the segments.
That's so cool.
On Oprah.com/Own Show.
Okay, you guys, seriously, check Danisha out. And then also
share it, because it's really, really social media based. So sharing it, commenting, giving us feedback. We all know that Oprah is all about, interacting with her community.
That's so
cool. And so the more we get that feedback, the better.
That's so cool. We're going to definitely cross-post some things on Create with Jenna.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Are you kidding? And then for you are at msp4realestate.com.
That is another company that I have. It's a coaching program for real estate agents who are basically either struggling, looking to get to that next level, or just starting out. And that's launching this year with Amy Applebaum. She's amazing. That's MSP for real estate. But for my real estate, like my real estate company, it's HostonAssociates.com.
Okay, let's spell that.
HOSTON, Associates, all spelled out with an S at the end.
Very cool. And then give them plugs for your social media, please.
It's Danisha Danielle everywhere. So DANISHA DANIELLE. Yes, I know it's long.
Just cut her some slack.
Talk to my mom about that one.
Well, that is amazing. And you do. You have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and your website is DanishaDanielle.com. And I'm sure they can get all their social media at your website as well. Amazing. And congratulations on your engagement. We will definitely chat after the show because it's so much fun being married. Thank you guys so much for listening in. And again, thank you for keeping the love going while I was away. I was away for 6 weeks. It was amazing. I appreciate you guys more than I can tell you. You have been listening to Create Your Life with Jenna Edwards. I'm your host, Jenna Edwards, or Mrs. Polding. This is Craig John Polding here at ubnradio.com. Stay tuned for the Rich Life with Anita Rich after the show. Don't go anywhere. You will have a 10-minute break, but that is no excuse, people. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jenna.
It's amazing. And congratulations on everything. But, you know, I only met you like 30 minutes ago, but it could not happen to a nicer person. I can say that.
Oh, thank you. Congrats
Definitely.
to you.
Thank you. We will see you next week here at ubnradio.com, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Mondays. Have a great week, everybody. I don't know what to say. Bye. Sarcasm.